Hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
We're back. It's episode 123 of the Brunch and Judge. Yay.
Still getting back into like the swing of things after being off for a month.
I know, I missed it, but it was nice to finally look at all the things. I put my whole world together. I keep getting compliments at how quickly I've moved in and set up, and I'm like, there's people here who will help me.
I mean, let's be fair. I've been in this house 10 years and I still haven't completely.
Fall project.
Let's just be fair.
All right, we are your hosts. I'm April.
And I'm Claire.
And this week we're talking Unsolved Mysteries.
Which is really kind of on topic since the new one was on Netflix. And April is traumatized by it.
I mean, it's a strong word.
More Spencer. Spencer's more traumatized than you are.
Yes, that is more fair. That is a more fair assessment. But again, there was a lot of, we'll talk about it at the end. There's a lot of hubbub about episode 2, and they're not wrong. It's one of the creepier ones. But anyway. So this week I go first. And I am bringing to you one of my favorite unsolved mysteries. One of the 3 things that I was so certain was going to be a bigger part of my adult life than actually is.
Kind of like quicksand.
Quicksand. That's 1. Yeah. Strangers offering me drugs. That's 2. 3.
Right.
3. The Bermuda Triangle. I mean, it got talked about a lot as a kid.
I feel like all 3 of those things were mentioned all the time.
Yes.
When we were children.
Yes. I expected them to be such a bigger part of adulthood. I expected there to be places I'd visit that would have a sign that says warning quicksand.
Right.
You know, that when I traveled, I would be traveling not in the Bermuda Triangle because everybody knows to avoid it. But in fact, we've been through it several times, Claire.
I know.
So, yeah, and as we all know, no one is giving you drugs for free. I'm sorry. That shit's expensive. There are no freebies. So, whatever.
I know. I was never once in my adult life. I mean, unless I've had a friend that's oh, here, I have a gummy.
Right. But there's no stranger on the street with fun shaped candy that's hey kid, you want to try some candy? No.
Right.
Absolutely not. Never happens.
No, you got to pay for that shit.
That's right. It's expensive. You're not giving that to a kid. God.
I know. All these adults are with dare, don't take candy from pshaw. Are you shitting me? No. Anyway.
So I bring to you one of my trifecta, the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes.
I got my information from Wikipedia. It came back this week. Unsolved.com, the, OG Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
Land. National Geographic. History. Yes. And ABC News. So you're welcome. So the Bermuda Triangle is also known as the Devil's Triangle.
Of course it is.
Also the Triangle of Death.
Not to be confused with the Circle of Death, which is in downtown E-Town.
Also known as the Hoodoo Sea.
Hoodoo Sea?
Mm-hmm. And finally, also known as the Graveyard of the Atlantic. Spooky.
Wow.
I know.
That's a lot of nicknames for that one area.
I know, right? So, it's a loosely defined triangular region. It's the area that connects basically the bottom of Florida to Bermuda to Puerto Rico. It's about 500,000 square miles, give or take. And as we all know, is infamous for the unusual disappearances of ships and planes. including in times of good weather, and often without any messages of distress. Like, they don't call out Mayday or distress or anything.
They're just
poof,
gone.
Even Christopher Columbus, yes, that douche canoe,
wish he would have disappeared.
on his very first voyage, reported seeing a great flame of fire crashing into the sea one night. Probably just a meteor.
Right. I was going to say, I'm sure that has an explanation.
Also wrote weeks later of strange lights appearing in the distance.
Aliens.
It's always aliens. And in some of his captain's logs or whatever, he also wrote about his compass becoming erratic and not being something you could follow, which is disconcerting because you need that.
But for him, I wish it would have stayed erratic and he would have gotten lost.
Well, we can't be that lucky all the time.
I mean, because he was a real ass.
Yes, he was.
So.
He was. We covered that in an episode. I'll try to remember to pop it up here so that way you can click on that if you're curious about Christopher Columbus, the douche canoe.
And what they don't teach you in school.
So, over 100 ships and planes have disappeared from the Bermuda Triangle.
Woo.
So, I'm going to talk about some of the more famous ones. The first really big one that made everybody go, happened in March of 1918 when the USS Cyclops, which, what a great name.
I love that name.
Love it. Which was a 542-foot long Navy cargo ship, disappeared.
Was it Captain Nemo?
Yes.
I wish.
There were 300 men on board, and they were carrying about 10,000 tons of manganese and were on their way to Chesapeake Bay from Barbados when they just disappeared. They never sent out an SOS distress call. Even though there was an extensive search of the area, no wreckage, no sign of anything was ever found. And about 20 years later, 2 of its sister ships also disappeared without a trace on the same route. The USS, I'm going to get these wrong, Nereus, 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 I don't know. And the USS Proteus disappeared within a month of each other. On the same route.
Wow.
One had 58 men on board, one had 61 men on board. So, like, what the hell? And it remains, the USS Cyclops remains the single largest loss of life in U.S. naval history that's not the result of combat.
Like, they just gone.
The poof gone.
That's
no
wild.
wreckage, no floaties, no lifeboats,
like, there's
no
nothing.
people. There is nothing. Just gone. No distress calls. And like,
they could have like gone somewhere else. Like, just like, we don't want to go back. We're just gonna like dock on this random island.
I mean, it's a 540-foot long Navy ship. I feel like that's hard to hide.
I don't know. I'm just
like
spitballing here. I'm just spitballing here.
I mean, I'm here for it. So,
or what if it like spitballing. What if it was something like the movie Sahara, where they just like, we're just gonna like sail across the ocean to like Africa or some nonsense like that.
But like,
I don't know. Spitballing.
I just feel like it would have, somebody would have seen it somewhere. And
right. I don't know. I just feel like it's weird for it just to just
and it's a lot of people to just commit to not ever talking to their families again.
True. If there's a portal to a different dimension.
So, yes.
All those people are now in a different timeline, and I'm hella jealous because I don't like this one.
I was like, yes. So I will talk about some of the fun explanations at the
Oh,
end.
okay.
So not only is this area, though, known for just everyone disappearing, but sometimes it's also they'll find abandoned ships, completely empty, no crew on board. The ship is fine. They don't know where they are. Very Mary Celeste.
Oh, yeah.
So in January of 1921, the Carroll A. Deering, which was a 5-masted schooner, was found.
That means nothing to me. I know nothing about ships.
It's a boat that has some sails on it.
Yeah,
like a big one with 5 masts and sails. Like
okay.
It was found aground and abandoned at Diamond Shoals near Cape Hatteras in North Carolina. And an FBI investigation ensued, and they rolled out multiple theories as to why or how the ship was abandoned, including piracy, domestic communist sabotage, because it was the 20s, rum runners.
Right.
Like, they could come up with no reason whatsoever. They never found the people. Also in 1955, a quote-unquote pleasure yacht, don't know what that means, don't want to know.
Like a Jeffrey Epstein thing.
Just saying. A pleasure yacht.
Just saying.
Was found adrift in the Atlantic just south of Bermuda. And that was one where the yacht survived being at sea during 3 hurricanes.
What?
But the crew had vanished entirely, and they're like, where are they? Like, they're not going to abandon the yacht in a hurricane. Like, they don't have any idea. But, like, the boat's fine. Everybody's gone.
Strange.
But one of the most famous, in fact, the episode from Unsolved Mysteries that lives rent-free in my brain from childhood.
Right.
Was Flight 19, which occurred in December of 1945. It was 5 Navy bombers that were carrying 14 men from Fort Lauderdale to do like practice bombing runs because it's 1945.
Right.
And so they were going to go practice some bomb runs over some nearby shoals. And the first part of the mission went by just fine. No problems. They made it to the shoals. They dropped their fake bombs or whatever. But on the return, the leader of the mission found that his compasses, plural, were malfunctioning, and he got lost. And so all 5 planes seemed to fly aimlessly until they ran low on fuel and were forced to ditch into the sea. Before losing radio contact, the leader said, "Everything looks strange, even the ocean. We are entering whitewater. Nothing seems right." And so they disappeared. But more terrifying is that because they were in radio contact, like they sent a rescue plane to go try and find them.
Right.
And on that rescue plane, there were 13 men, and the rescue plane disappeared.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
And so massive, weeks-long searches turn up nothing from the 5 Navy
original
bombers,
planes.
From the rescue plane, nothing. And like in the official Navy report, there's a line that says it was as if they had flown to Mars. Like that is how nothingness that they found.
Wow.
I mean, and these planes were all fully equipped. They had been thoroughly checked before they went out. Like they went,
right.
And yet this still happened. And it's creepy as fuck, man. Especially when it's like, everything looks strange, even the ocean. Like, what does that mean?
I know.
How does the ocean look strange to a Navy pilot?
Right.
There are also 3 passenger planes that went down or disappeared soon after sending like very normal all is well kind of messages. One of them in 1948, Captain Robert Lindquist took off from San Juan. There were 2 crew members and 29 passengers heading to Miami. When they were just 50 miles out from Miami, the captain radioed to the airport to get just like the normal landing instructions, like, "Hey, I'm 50 miles out, blah, 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 blah." And so they replied, the radio tower like replied with the landing instructions, but got nothing back, just silence, and the plane was never heard or seen again.
Oh my gosh.
Another one happened in 1949 when a passenger aircraft that was owned by British Southern American Airways was flying from Bermuda to Jamaica when it just disappeared. It had 7 crew members and 13 passengers, and the weather had been very fair, it had been calm, and again, no wreckage was ever found.
Oh my god.
And like they know where these people, like they know the flight path. They went after them. It's so bizarre. Creeps me out.
It's just very weird how it's selective, I guess.
Yes.
It's not everything that goes through that area. And has there been anything recent? That's what I guess that's what I want to know.
You know, really, this has been such a there have always been reports, but like the prime time that the Bermuda Triangle was active, so to speak.
Yeah, right.
Was like from around World War I through like the 60s.
Right, okay.
So like these are all the ones that made it famous and popular. I have no idea if there's anything, because we don't talk about it anymore. Nothing's connected to the Bermuda Triangle.
Well, man, I just think of like the like cruise ships that go through that area.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, that's what I was like, I've been through it several times, apparently. Huh.
Right. Huh. Like, same. Yeah. At least 3 at this point.
But then it's like all the people who just disappear from cruise ships, like maybe that's part of the Bermuda Triangle at play. I don't know.
I just think it's bizarre. Like,
it is. It is bizarre.
Were cruises a thing in the 50s and 60s? No?
I mean, probably, but probably not like they are now.
I don't know. It's weird. It's just, just bizarre.
But like, we learned from the Titanic that you have to have lifeboats. So to me, the fact that like all the the boats disappear and there's not lifeboats out is bizarre. So
yeah, that's what. That's why I was like, is there anything that's recent? Because I know a lot of it was like back in the day.
Right. Know. Well, and yeah, all of mine are from back in the day because that's when, I guess that's when people really were talking about it. So why was it such a big thing in the 80s, 90s? Because like most of the stuff was from well before, but like we grew up with this.
Yeah, like they talked about it a lot. I think it was like talked about a lot in the 80s, 90s. Like the lore of it was a big thing in the 80s and 90s. And I don't think people talk about it like they used to.
No, we need to bring it back. We need to bring back the Bermuda Triangle, guys. It's time we talk about it more. So one of the last ones I'm going to talk about is the SS Marine Sulfur. The SS Marine Sulfur Queen.
Sulfur Queen. Well.
So 1963 in February, they heard from, it was a converted tanker ship. It was the last time that they received a radio message. It's very routine, just the normal message you expect. And then they were never heard from again. And when they failed to make further communication, search crews were sent out to locate it. And they spent 2 weeks searching for it. And they found nothing. I think that's what creeps me out, is that they don't find anything. Like, there's no...
And I feel it, too, because this is, like, a finite area.
Yeah. Well, and like, especially when it's, like... I mean, all the cruise ships take the exact same path. Like, everyone, it's a specific area that are shipping, like, the people are going in. It's not like they're just like, we're going to go over here and floop to floop to floop. They know where they're the shipping paths. So why? I
mean, this isn't like that story I did about the plane.
Right.
That could have wound up like in the South Sea somewhere that the sea is wild and it's like the Wild West out there and they can't search it because
Mm-hmm.
it's too dangerous. Like I feel like this is like a finite area where, you know, I mean, granted, I get the water's deep. I get that,
Well, but it's like if something
but I feel like if there were that many like wrecks and stuff out there, like if
stuff should be floating up though. Is what I mean.
yeah,
Like I get that the majority,
or
like the
there
boat
would be
itself
like
is
so many
metal, but
ships at the bottom of
yeah.
the sea. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the bottom of the ocean would just be like littered with wreckage at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And dead bodies. I don't know.
Well,
You
you
know
think
what
at
I'm
some
saying?
point they're just stacked on top of each other and it's just
Right.
sticking out of
Yeah.
the ocean, but no.
Right.
But like stuff, there's so much stuff that should float or should wash up or
Right.
should be found that I'm like I don't understand. Anyway,
It's the Kraken.
it
He's
is the
eating it.
Kraken. In
He's
fact, let's
eating
talk
it.
about some of the
Okay.
things that get blamed. So one, I mean, obviously there's a lot of paranormal activity
Right.
that gets blamed for this. Obviously some UFO abductions. That's why everyone disappears. Like they'd probably just take the whole ship. I mean,
Right.
aliens like, floop, let's just take it. Let's take all the people.
We're just taking
Let's
everything.
just take it all. I mean,
Right.
or maybe not. This is not one of the explanations. This is my new explanation. What if God is playing with his toy, the Earth, and he reaches his hand down to get his little boat. He's like having bath time. He's like, boat, boat, boat. And he just kind of picks it up and moves it onto some other planet because he's like, I want my boat over here.
Oh my gosh. That would be hilarious.
Hand comes from the sky. Another explanation that people give is a time warp, that they have accidentally gone through like a time hole
Yeah.
and end up in another time period. So that would really suck if you're on a boat and suddenly you're in like the Jurassic period and you're like, fucking hell, man.
And that would not be cool.
Mm-mm.
Or if like, what if you like went to the future and you're like on your like Mary Celeste looking boat, and then you're like, where am I? Where am I?
Portals, which we have talked about in the past, but like, portal into a new timeline or new place entirely. And the same way that Bigfoot travels, apparently, through portals.
Oh, through the orbs, yes. Uh-huh.
So, I mean, obviously there's got to be portals in the Bermuda Triangle. It is a triangle. We know that means something. I don't remember what, but and so they're just kind of sailing along, and that's why, or flying, and that's why the ocean looks weird, is because you've flown into a new place. You've gone into a portal.
It's not the same ocean.
It's not the same ocean.
You're over a different ocean.
Mm-hmm. One of my absolute favorite explanations, and what I hope turns out to be real, is that the lost city of Atlantis rests at the bottom of the triangle, and its advanced technology interferes with nearby vessels. So that's why it messes up stuff. And then, they obviously take them in, and they can't let them go because then people would tell them
that's
tell us about Atlantis.
And I love that. Yes. I love that. Because that was one of my, and it's low key, like totally underrated Disney movie.
Disney movie. Mm-hmm.
That and Treasure Planet. Oh God, love those two Disney movies. So underrated.
Very underrated. Mm-hmm.
I love them, and I would love that if that explanation was true. That would be the best.
And like something that I read, I didn't include it in my notes, was talking about how have you ever heard of Edgar Casey? Do you know who that is?
That name sounds familiar.
He was, I don't know, like a kind of like a psychic-y, this is the stuff that's coming, could predict the future. It was somehow Jesus-y related. Like, was Christian somehow? I don't remember.
Ew.
That might not be completely accurate. My dad has had like an interest in Edgar Casey, so it's kind of popped up in my life. But apparently he predicted that we would find Atlantis or proof of Atlantis or something about that in like 1968.
Mm-hmm.
And that year is when they found the Bimini Road in the Bermuda Triangle, which they thought might be a man-made road. We since have learned it was just a natural formation. But they were like, oh, it's true. It's the Atlantis. It's the road to Atlantis. And I'm going, I mean, okay, why not? Why not? I don't know.
But I would love that. That I do.
Isn't it the best?
That would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. But so I'm going to destroy everyone's joy and happiness and give you some rational reasons of why.
Oh, nobody wants that. We like the fun ones.
I know. But I argue the rational ones are kind of weird too.
And you're like, wait, what?
So one of the things that is stated is that the actual number of disappearances in the area of the Bermuda Triangle is consistent with any other well-traveled region. Like, it's not like there's so much more here than anywhere else, necessarily. So, like, maybe we're focusing on something that's not even a big deal. But I'm like, how many things disappear that we just don't talk about, guys? Like, right, without a trace entirely?
Like, just go poof into nothing?
I'm like, okay, weird.
Like
I have a lot more questions at this point.
Like, you're talking about that one ship.
Yeah.
Like, being that big and that many people just disappearing into nothing.
And we're like, no, it's totally normal. I'm like, is it?
Okay.
Should we be more concerned about the ocean?
Right.
Should I not get on a boat anymore? But okay. Also, this particular region is vulnerable to unpredictable storms. Most hurricanes in the Atlantic, tropical storms, pass through the quote-unquote triangle.
Right.
And according to the Navy, the Gulf Stream there can cause very swift, violent changes in the weather. So the Gulf Stream is it was just explained as kind of like there's a river in the ocean. Like, it has its own surface current.
Just saw something about this on TikTok about how there's rivers underwater in the ocean. I was like, that's wild.
And so
it hurts my brain.
Because the Gulf Stream has a pretty strong current, it can and does carry floating objects far away. So like a small plane or a boat that's having engine trouble can be carried away from its most recent reported position by the current. But I'm like, we've known that, so wouldn't we just know to follow the current? It's right. I don't know. But whatever.
Like, we know where the current's going.
So I'm over here I mean, okay, but we know it. So is that really a good explanation? But whatever. In 1986, there was a boat called the Pride of Baltimore that sank in the Bermuda Triangle. And they suspected that a powerful downdraft of cold air caused it. The crew, because some of them survived, we were able to talk to them, said that the wind suddenly shifted and increased velocity from 30... I'm just going to do miles per hour because we're Americans. Increased from 20 miles per hour to 60 to 90 miles per hour, just all of a sudden.
That's a big difference.
And that the National Hurricane Center said that during very unstable weather conditions, the downburst of cold air from aloft can hit the surface like a bomb, exploding outward like a giant squall line of wind and water. So I'm like, I'm sorry. So we're saying that the rational explanation is that weather is insane and suddenly it'll just bomb you out of nowhere? This in this area? Like, are you sure this is a rational explanation? Like, just because we can say what's happening, it sounds insane to me. Yeah, never.
Like, oh, the weather is a bomb. It's fine.
And I feel like I have heard bomb cyclones or something. There've been weird,
right?
And I'm going, fucking hell, man. All right. As for the compass variations, there may be some magnetic anomalies that exist in the area. So specifically with Columbus, during his time, there was a portion of the Bermuda Triangle that was one of the few places on Earth where true north and magnetic north lined up.
Oh, I mean,
and that causes stuff to fuck
fair.
up. But like, so what's bizarre though is that those places move because the Earth, the Earth, things move, and so like it's not still that place in the Bermuda Triangle. I'm like, and in fact, it mentions some place in like Minnesota, and I'm like, what the hell? This is weird. I'm uncomfortable. So
things like that like move. I'm like, I don't like this.
And I'm going,
why does it move?
I love how we're going with this is a rational explanation. Like, I mean, maybe.
Is
it's still terrifying. It's like,
Science
oh, hey,
weird.
You're in a place that's just going to fuck up. So,
Science
sucks to be you.
So weird.
And then this is the last thing. But this is also my favorite because I feel like this, though rational, feels a little bit like paranormally too.
Oh, really?
To me, just because it feels very random. So, methane hydrates. The presence.
For a second, I thought you were going to blame it on meth.
Yes. Meth. The meth cloud from London. Kentucky, mind you. London, Kentucky. The meth cloud that hangs over London, Kentucky that causes all the weather to go around it. That's my theory. Has shifted. Okay.
Yes, it's shifted down to the
Bermuda Triangle. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
But so the presence of large fields of methane hydrates, which is a form of natural gas, exists on like the continental shelves,
right.
And there were experiments that they carried out in Australia that have proven that the bubbles of the methane can sink a ship because it decreases the density of the water.
What?
And so
that's crazy.
Like
that many times
it counteracts the buoyancy of ships. So like if there's enough of it, it'll just sink the ship very rapidly without warning. And if it can sink a ship, it can sink the people. Like, I mean, the float's nothing's floating because
it's just gonna suck it down.
And I'm like, what the actual hell? You're telling me this is science and this isn't like spooky, the Kraken, giant squid sucking you down? I mean, like, whatever. So I'm like, methane, cow farts. I mean, not the same as cow farts, but like not that dissimilar from cow farts.
Right.
Can sink. Cow farts can sink ships. Is basically
what you're reading.
And I'm going, what the hell? So now I'm thinking to myself, do I ever want to be on a cruise again? Because like, if it can sink the whole fucking cruise ship, man. I don't want that life. And also,
like if the Earth just happens to fart some methane right under. I mean, you think though, like the odds, but still, like if you just had to be cruising over and some methane gas just happens, like right and just.
But like that feels like a thing that should be like plottable. Here is where methane is, so sail around that. But I'm going. Does it just randomly, sometimes here's a methane field and sometimes there's not? Like, I don't know.
Right.
This does not make sense to me. I'm sorry. I'm pushing back. This is not rational. My rationality's out the window. So, Bermuda Triangle, still terrifying.
That still doesn't explain the planes, though.
Well, right. And fair. This is one of those where it's like, there's actually lots of little reasons, lots of different things could happen. I'm like, no one's calling for Mayday.
Yeah.
And that's weird. Everything just disappears without a trace. There's no wreckage. There's no debris. There are no dead bodies. Everything is just gone. And that's weird.
Right.
So, definitely a portal. They're all hanging out with, like, the cavemen. And they're like,
that's what I'm like. I'm like, it's either a portal or aliens.
Yes.
Those are my...
It's a portal or it's aliens. That's it. There are no other options.
Those are my... Yeah, that's right. I'm kind of with you. I'm like, yeah.
But that is my unsolved mystery. Woo.
And also, I would just with the methane though, if that was still happening, you think that that would still be happening. You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe
That
we have
something,
better technology and we can read it and we know to go around shit now. Like I don't know, but
but you think still like an accident would happen. Like,
mm-hmm.
not that I'm saying I want it to happen, to be like, oh, the
No,
Bermuda
absolutely
Triangle is
not.
alive and well
It's like
with this
the
bizarreness.
triangle, the revenge of the triangle.
Right, the Revenge of the Bermuda Triangle. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that I want that to
Mm-hmm.
happen, but I would, it's just weird to me that it was only during like this like kind of small period. I mean, because you did say that one was like in 1918, but
Right.
still, I mean, that like the height of it was like for this like 20-year period,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just like poof, we're
And yeah,
done.
we're not talking about it anymore. But that's because obviously, Claire, the government has covered it up.
I,
We're talking the deep state, Claire.
it is the deep state. It is the deep state. It's always the deep state. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
shit. Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah.
And there you have it.
Well, thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I love unsolved mysteries because
I
they do.
know.
They just live rent free in my head. It's always like, but why?
Yes, yes. Which, Claire, what unsolved
Yes.
mystery have you brought us today?
I'm going to be talking about the investor murders.
The investor murders?
Yes. And so, anyway,
I don't think I know this. Okay.
yeah, okay. I didn't either until I was like, what are some true unsolved mysteries in my Google, as I do.
As we do.
My sources are frontpagedetectives.com, people.com, thesun.com, and grunge.com. So, on the morning of September 6th, 1982, on an inlet near Craig, Alaska, a fishing trawler called the Casino noticed that there was fire out on the water.
Fire.
Yes, there's fire and smoke,
There's
just like
fire.
all
Okay.
this smoke. And so they realized there was another boat just out on the water on fire. And flames were blazing. So crew calls the authorities, and so they take one of their smaller boats over to see if they can help, see what's going on. The boat on fire was called the Investor.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And it was owned by a man named Mark Colthurst. And soon it was revealed that the fire was set to cover up a group of murders. 8 bodies were found.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, 8 bodies were discovered on the ship, the Investor. All of them were shot with a .22 caliber gun. Now, Craig, Alaska is this area. It can only be reached by like boat or plane.
A lot of Alaska is like that.
Yeah. And was like, I forgot how far. It's near Ketchikan.
Oh, I've been to Ketchikan.
Yeah, that's like one of the closest.
So it's in like okay, sure.
It's near.
Nearish.
It's like that's the closest city to Craig is Ketchikan, Alaska. Yeah. So the victims on the boat were the owner, Mark Colthurst, who was 28, his pregnant wife, Irene, who's also 28, their 2 kids, Kimberly, who was 5,
Aww.
their son, John, who was 4.
Oh, okay, that's very sad.
I know, that's why I was like, ugh. And then their deckhands, Chris Heyman, who is 18, Jerome Cowan, I guess that's how you say it, it's spelled weird, Keown, who was 19, Dean Moon, who was 19, and Mike Stewart, who was 19.
They're all babies.
I know. Like, yeah, everybody.
That is so sad.
Yeah, everybody's really young. And so Mark Colthurst was a businessman. He was a commercial fisherman, and he was up there with his family catching salmon. He was based out of Blaine, Washington. And they had just really kind of bought this boat. It was $850,000 boat.
Damn.
Yeah. It was 58 feet long. So I guess it's more of a ship. Anyway, nice new boat. It was like top of the line fishing
Mm-hmm.
boat for them since that was like his business. That was what he was. I mean, that's how he made his money.
Yeah.
So, um, and they had just arrived in Craig, Alaska, like the day before on September 5th. And they had tied their ship off between two other ships called the Defiant and the Decade when they docked it.
Okay.
And so the night before, on September 5th, they were celebrating Mark's 28th birthday. And the deckhands, they were like, oh, we got the night off. We're going to go into town. So they went to the bar, but the family went to a restaurant to celebrate the birthday near the restaurant near the docks. And they were back to the boat around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Um, Deckhands got back a little bit later, just as a storm was rolling in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the police believe that the killer snuck onto the boat or was invited onto the boat because it was somebody that Mark knew.
Sure.
But yeah, that night, um, that he murdered the family and the crew, and then took the boat out the next morning. And so there was a witness on the boat, the Decade. It was a crew member from the boat, the Decade, said at 6:30 the next morning, said that he saw the investor like leaving, but the motor wasn't running.
Hmm.
It was just kind of like scooting on out. And he saw a man in like the room that was guiding it out. And he just assumed it was Mark.
Yeah.
And he said he
As you would.
waved. Yeah, he said he waved and the guy waved back. So he just assumed it was Mark that was taking the boat out. But the motor wasn't on. I mean, I guess he didn't really think a whole lot of it. But in hindsight, it's like trying to like
Mm-hmm.
make a silent getaway, I guess. Um, but the witness said around 7:30 that the investor was near a place called Fish Egg Island and someone saw a person take the skiff, which is that smaller boat that's got like the little motor on the back
Mm-hmm.
that you can go back and forth if you're docking or if you're like anchored out so you can go back and forth to the dock to get gas and then go back to the investor. And then witnesses say they saw the skiff was back at the dock and then the boat's on fire. And after they put the fire out, the police discovered that whoever was responsible for everything had also opened all the sea cocks to let water into the
Oh,
boat.
I was like, I don't know what that is, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so it was letting water into the boat. So he was also trying to sink the boat.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Like trying to sink it, set it on fire, get rid of all the stuff.
yeah. I
Because,
mean,
yeah,
no body,
nefarious
no
things.
crime. I get it.
Yeah, nefarious things were afoot. So the only descriptions that the authorities had of this person was that it was a man in his 20s with a pockmarked face.
Ugh. Okay.
That was it. That was it. Real and like longish light brown hair. That was like it. Yeah. So the authorities tried to tow the boat away, but eventually it sank just because of like
Mm-hmm.
everything that
All
was
the damage and
yeah, about 6 miles away from Craig. And so at that point, all they had were just eyewitness accounts and whatever circumstantial evidence they had already collected at that point, which
Mm-hmm.
was not a lot because the boat was now underwater,
Right.
which sucked.
Yeah.
So because it's fishing and it's a very transient job, um, there were a lot of fishermen in the area that were in and out. So they tried to interview as many people as they could there, but they were also trying to find if the family had anybody that they were like enemies with, or
Mm-hmm.
like anybody connected to the family, that kind of stuff. It was hard. So they were like there, but then they were also looking back at people that they were connected with in Washington. And it took them a while to come down. They finally narrowed the investigation down to this one guy. His name was John Kenneth Peel. It took him uh 2 years to like, I think they didn't even interview him until like after a year after the murders
Oh, mm-hmm.
to even interview him. And they arrested him 2 years after the murders on September 10th, 1984. But Peel was formerly employed by Mark Colthurst on a boat that he had owned called the Kit. It was the boat before he bought the Investor.
Mm-hmm.
And Colthurst and Peel hadn't really parted on the best of terms. Like Colthurst had fired him because of his drug and alcohol abuse.
So, just question.
Yeah.
So they suspect, or maybe even know, that everyone was murdered while it was still docked at the thing, and then it was taken out and destroyed, or
That's what they think.
that's what they think? Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're assuming.
Okay. 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 And so this guy, bad blood, got it.
Yeah.
But obviously,
He was fired because his drug and alcohol abuse.
well, I mean, you know.
And also, he was in Craig the night of all of this, the night of the murders. He was with another crew because that's like,
yeah,
all those people like cross paths when you're doing the fishing. Like you're in the same areas because that's where, especially like with certain types of fish, because it's in season or whatever you're doing. Like they were doing salmon or whatever. And he was in Craig on the night like with another crew, but he just claimed he was asleep. He didn't really have an alibi, like as far as like I was with these people, they can attest that I was with them. And also kind of suspicious, he called the tip line twice. And he also failed, which I know this isn't like super like, but he failed the polygraph like several times. And that's not like super like indicative,
yeah, like,
but
it with the other information makes you kind of go, maybe.
But it's not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not like super indicative, like, you know, liar, but it's also not great. It's not great. Anyway. So 1986 was his first trial. It lasted over 6 months.
Holy crap.
And I'm just like, who are you, fucking OJ?
For what? Like, what kind of whatever.
I know.
Right. So, they're all dead. There's no evidence. Like, what are we even talking about? But all right. Fine.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, most of it was circumstantial evidence. The witnesses like say that they saw Peel in a skiff buying gas. Maybe not necessarily that skiff, like going, but they like people recognized him buying gas, you know, that kind of thing. Obviously the motive presented at the trial was his falling out with Colthurst, because of him firing him. However, the defense suggested that the Colthurst were running cocaine in their boat, because apparently that was a thing back in the 80s. Was a lot of fishing boats were used to run cocaine.
No judgment.
Back in the day,
gotta make money.
There a lot of fishing boats were used to run cocaine back in the 80s, and that this was possibly a drug deal gone bad. But apparently there was like no evidence that there was ever any cocaine on that boat.
But they had no way to test because the boat fucking sank.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's true too. But I mean, I guess at first glance, like with them going, because they did go on there to get the bodies.
Well, so they didn't see any cocaine. Right.
There was no like that, as far as testing.
To be fair, if
Yes.
you are a cocaine drug lord, dealer, whatever they're called, and you have murdered, oh, my chapstick broke on my lip, and you've murdered an entire family, including small children.
You're not just gonna leave your cocaine.
You're not
on the
leaving
boat.
your cocaine behind, all right? You're taking that shit with you. So, like, of course you didn't see any cocaine, but like, did we do any cocaine
I feel like
tests?
if there was a shit ton of cocaine on the boat, and you're docked between two other ships that have crew on them, and that crew's party hardying on either ship, people are gonna see you trying to unload cocaine.
Well, you're not carrying it out and like, here's my brick of cocaine. I mean, it's you're putting that shit in a bag, or it's in a box, or it's in the bottom of a crate with like ropes on top, so it looks like it's fishing crap. Like, I mean, you're making some effort. You're making some effort.
You're making an effort, but still, I feel like somebody's gonna see you like making several trips off the boat to unload shit.
Yeah. I love that you think people pay that much attention. No one's paying attention.
I don't think no one's paying attention.
They're too busy with their own shit. I mean,
April's like, it was cocaine.
Like, I mean, I'm not saying this was cocaine or not cocaine, but I'm saying, they had a special room for the cocaine that we can't see because the ship is fucking sunk, and the cocaine people took their cocaine with them because you don't leave that behind. That costs too much money.
Oh my gosh.
And like, maybe they were new to the cocaine thing, and so they hadn't done a lot of back and forth. I don't know. Maybe it's their first time cocaining. I don't have answers.
First time cocaining.
All I'm saying is that like, I'm here for the defense. Just like, you can't really say it wasn't this, so maybe it was.
Oh my gosh.
Because also, why would this asshole murder the kids? Like, his beef is with one dude, and he murdered everybody? It just seems...
Well, and that's what they were saying, was that, like, they got into an argument. That was, like, the whole thing, was they got into an argument. He killed Mark, and then it was just, like, had to kill everybody else, too.
That's a lot of people that, while at the dock, like, none of them could escape. Like, are they all in the same room together? And
now that I don't know.
I mean, like, it's just like, what?
I don't know.
Okay. Keep going. Just seems unlikely that one person could take out that many young men, by the way.
Right. Which, I mean, he was around the same age as them, so it's not like...
But no, but still.
Right. And some of these were, like, football players. Like, they're talking about how they played football in high school. So it's not like they were... Not like they were, like, scrawny guys. Anyway. So, that trial ended in a hung jury.
Fair.
That was, the most expensive and longest trial in the state of Alaska's history.
Fair.
So, yeah, that particular one, 6 months, yeah. So, 2 years later, in 1988, Peel was retried, and that one lasted 3 months, and he wound up being acquitted. I think that one also wound up in a hung jury, and I think that might be a state thing where if it's hung jury twice, you're just acquitted.
It's like, and we're done. This is ridiculous. Yeah, that's fair.
It was acquittal. So, yeah. So Peel wound up suing the state of Alaska for wrongful prosecution.
Interesting.
Because apparently his attorneys uncovered a memo from investigators saying that all the evidence was circumstantial and the crime couldn't be solved or successfully pursued without a confession. Because this memo said that. And so because the investigators admitted that in a memo, that they still went ahead with this trial.
But, like, investigators don't make the determination about trial. Only the prosecutor can make that determination.
But I guess that was the thing, is the fact that there was a memo, maybe it was to the prosecutor, stating this, and the fact that they still went ahead with it anyway, saying that there wasn't enough evidence. Like, the investigators didn't think there was enough evidence to do this, and they still went ahead anyway. And so Peel initially wanted $177 million.
Okay.
But he settled out of court for $900,000.
I was like, that's sufficient. I'm like, just pay his fucking legal bills and move on.
Right. And nobody else has ever been charged.
But okay, well, so two things. One, I'm not sure how you can say that it was wrongful prosecution if they spent 6 fucking months. If they had enough stuff to just talk about for that long. You know what I'm saying? Like, even
Right.
if
Like,
it
I don't
is
know
all
what it
fucking
was. I don't know what they
circumstantial, like,
had.
what the hell? That is
Like, there was not
obscene. But
anything, and this is what drove me crazy and why this isn't longer, is because everything just kept saying the same thing over and over again, but nothing was super
yeah.
specific about what circumstantial evidence
Because
they had.
I assume because it's still an open case. Like, they.
Yeah,
I
like
get.
it's just like cold, I guess,
Mm.
by now. Yeah. But yeah, nobody else has ever been charged. Like, nobody else has ever been, like, I guess, on their radar as far as like charging anybody
Mm-hmm.
with this family's murder. And so one investigator was like, as far as he's concerned, he feels like the case is closed and that Peel guy should have been.
He did it. If they can't prove it, he still did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But the boat, the investor, is still sunk beneath the waters off the coast of Prince Wales Island.
So you're saying we need to go scuba diving and find some cocaine?
Perhaps. We need to go find some evidence of some
Uh-huh.
cocaine, maybe. Or
Wow.
that Peel guy actually did it.
I just.
But yeah, officially, nobody knows
Right.
who killed this family and these 4 deckhands and sunk this ship.
Yeah.
Set
Yeah.
this ship on
Mm-hmm.
fire.
I mean,
And it's one of like Alaska's like worst. They call it like a massacre, and it's like one of their worst because
I mean, it's fair.
yeah,
That's a lot of dead bodies on one boat ship
right.
floating thing. And I struggle with one person having been able to do it.
And here's also my thing. Like, if I get fired, like, I'm not gonna kill somebody. I'm petty, okay?
I am petty.
I'm gonna do
I'm
something
pretty
petty.
Yeah.
Like, give their work email, like whatever political party they affiliate with, I'm gonna give their work email to all the other parties. Like,
absolutely.
and like
Yeah.
flood their email inbox with that. Or I don't know, give their phone number to like, I don't know, other opposite side political parties so they get a bunch of spam texts or something. Like, I'm that level of petty. You know?
Yeah.
I'm petty. I'm not gonna go around killing people. Like,
See,
you know, if I feel like I was like unjustly fired or something like that, like that's the level of petty that I'm gonna be.
But
I'm gonna
even
do something to
if
make their life annoying or difficult. I'm not gonna kill somebody.
But even if you are so angry that you want, like, maybe you had too much cocaine and you're insane. I don't know. But like, even if you are in the I'm gonna go murder this person, the fact that they murdered everybody
Killed all of them.
else, I mean,
Yeah.
I struggle with it. Like, not to say that someone couldn't. Of course someone can. I mean, we live in the land of mass shootings all the time. But like, this, if this is an intentional focus thing, it just is odd. I'm like, so you've murdered this guy, his pregnant wife, 2 small children that couldn't ID you. Like, they're little.
Right.
And then these deckhands that you probably didn't even know, that I'm like, it seems like I don't know. It just seems odd to me. And then that no one survived it. Like, that many people against one person. Like, you feel like they could have, football players tackled him or something.
Right.
So, I don't know. But then also that this all happened while they were at the dock. Like, they were docked.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what they think happened, is that all the murders happened at the dock, and then whoever took the boat out, set it on fire, did all the things.
Wild.
Yeah, that's what they think happened. I mean, nobody really knows.
Oh, I know. That's what makes it an unsolved mystery.
Right. Yes. But anyway, yeah, nobody knows really what happened. I mean, a lot of people obviously think that he did it and that he just got away with it and hasn't, because there was not enough evidence to pin it on him.
Hmm.
But it just, I mean, the jury was like, it wasn't like it was just one person holding out. I mean, it seemed like
Right.
it was pretty evenly split. I think the first time it was 7-5. So, I mean, it wasn't even like it was like just
Right.
one holdout, like both times it was pretty split. So, yeah, I
Hmm.
just feel like because of the boat sinking, that didn't help, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then, however, they found that memo that didn't help their cause either.
Lord, whatever. Ugh. Well, thank you, Claire. That was amazing. I
You're
don't think
welcome.
I'd ever heard of that one. So
I
that's kind of cool. Like
was
I
just
have,
Googling
yeah.
and it was like, I can't remember which website it was, but it was just like a list of like weird unsolved mysteries by state.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one that popped up for Alaska. And I was like, I have never heard of this. Let's see if I can find. And then it was like, I kept hitting all these roadblocks. It was just like the same thing over and over and
Mm-hmm.
over again. I was like, come on, I need more than this. And I think it was because it's just something that nobody knows about. Like, it's not like,
Yeah.
it's not something famous like Bermuda Triangle or, or something like
Which,
even like
to be
Jack the
fair,
Ripper
like
or
the Bermuda Triangle, like finding what I would call more reputable resources was hard.
right, 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 right. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Claire, what are you judging this week?
Judging my second job. We still don't have air conditioning.
Claire, what month did your boss put in to have the to request to have the air conditioning replaced?
March.
March, you say. March. And
March.
what month is it now, Claire?
It's August.
And do you have new air conditioning yet?
No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, but they're supposed to come the 27th.
Sure.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I'll
Hmm.
believe it when I see it.
That is that's unacceptable. I mean, like to have the there's just no reason. There's no way that they could not have fucking done this sooner.
I know. I mean, there's been some days it's gotten, I mean, up to almost 90. And I mean, I think the highest I've personally seen it has been 88.
Damn. You can't expect people to work in that kind of shit. Like,
No. And I'm just like, and they're like, boss is like, be positive. And I'm like, you know what? I'm positive. It's fucking hot in here.
I'm positive that this is shitty and unacceptable and should have been fixed a
Yeah.
fucking long time ago.
It's just,
Mm-hmm.
like, because anytime we have to do sail changes,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it involves climbing in the window in a ladder and there's lights, all those like super bright lights
Mm-hmm.
that are
That
up in
have
the
a
window.
lot of
Yeah.
heat.
Yeah. And I hate it. Fucking hate it. Oh my God. It's awful. Can't stand it. And, ah, it's
Mm.
just, you get so hot up there and you got to climb up there 2 or 3 times to change one banner sometimes, depending on, because sometimes you drop things
Mm-hmm.
or something falls, you know, and it's like you have to climb up there to take one banner down. You have to change out the hardware and you got to climb up there again to hang the new banner. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And it's just, you get up there and it's hot and we've got those little fake AC units, but they really only cool you if you stand right
Right
in
in
front of
front of
them,
it. Mm-hmm.
almost like a fan, like just a fan. And we have to empty the containers, the drip containers at night, and they don't want them running at night, so you have to turn them off. So it gets hot in there at night. So when you come in the
It's
morning, it's
hot.
hot, and then they've got, it's a vicious cycle. And lately, it's been like if I'm somewhere where it's hot and there's not any kind of like airflow, like it's just you're sitting there
Mm-hmm.
in the hot and it's just bluck. It like I think if part of it's my medicine. I think my medicine has made me like super susceptible to heat these days. But like it just starts triggering my gag reflex
Mm-hmm.
and I just start gagging. And you tell me how attractive that is to customers when like I'm in the middle of a conversation and I can tell it's coming because it's like my throat gets really dry and I start coughing and I'm like, oh my God, here it comes. And I'll just start gagging in front of a customer. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm not gonna throw up on you, I promise. Like, it's just give me a second. And I'm like, we're
Yeah.
not supposed to take drinks and stuff out onto the floor.
Really?
And no,
Okay,
no,
that's shitty.
we're not supposed to take drinks and stuff out onto the floor.
I mean,
Although
like, I
lately,
understand snacks and maybe not, but like
right,
water covered
right,
drink
right,
should be
right.
fucking fine.
Yeah, but lately, like, especially at night when main manager's not there, we have been like water,
Mm-hmm.
not anything that's like Kool-Aid or anything like that. Plus, it's like in those big tumblers that have
Yeah.
lids and stuff. So anyway, we keep them like under the desk. And if I keep like lifesavers or something that I can like suck on, like, something in
Mm-hmm.
my mouth that helps with that too, but don't always have that. But,
Wow.
I've had that happen a couple times where it's just like I'm in the middle and I just start gagging in front of a customer and I'm just like have to turn and it's just can't
Yeah.
help it. It's just
Yeah.
part of it. Just eh, gross. And I just apologize and I'm like, I'm sorry. It's because of the heat. And then you get people who complain to you because they're like, I'm trying to try on this bra and it's hot in here. And I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
I hate trying on clothes anyway,
Yeah.
let alone when there's no
No, yeah.
AC. So, yeah. Ugh. I mean, I'll say temperature's been kind of mild the last few days, so it hasn't been terrible in there. But still, it's just like, come on. Like, ugh. We're getting ready to do like our reviews, and I'm like, gonna ream you again. You know, you know what? I'm positive it's hot in here, and I'm positive I don't get paid enough for this bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
ugh,
absolutely. That is, well, and the fact that like ultimately it's impacting customers, I wouldn't want to go shop at a store that's not air conditioned. They're like, fuck this.
I
No.
know. And there's so many people who just buy stuff and leave, or they'll just leave. They don't buy anything.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just buy a bunch of junk and leave, and then they come back and return it because they go home and try it on,
Mm-hmm.
and then return it, and it's just like, which is
You,
better?
yeah.
I mean, and it's like, well, be positive. I'm like, no,
No.
no, absolutely not. I'm not going to.
No.
And then it's like, that's my mentality. My mentality lately has been, what are you going to do? Fire me? Like, do it. I dare you.
Yeah.
Please.
Mm-hmm.
Are
Go
you
ahead.
going to?
Do it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I'm at these days. I'm like, I don't care. I will go somewhere else.
Somewhere with air
It's like,
conditioning.
yeah, somewhere with air conditioning.
Oh,
Right?
God. That is shitty. I am sorry.
But
Fuck
yeah,
them.
right? It's like what's the deal? And it's because they have to go I hate it because it's corporate and you have to go through certain you can only go through certain channels to do certain things like when they buy products and supplies and all that
Mm-hmm.
nonsense. Like they were talking about getting a new vacuum because this vacuum's had a new cord put on it twice.
Yeah.
The little thingy at the bottom that you press to release the thing so it bends backwards so you can vacuum with it. It's broken off, so you have to bend down and like use your thumb and like try to break your thumbnail off to try to like get it out. And it's just like we need another one. And so everybody's been talking. It's like, can't we just get like a stick one? I mean, with as much as we don't have to vacuum a whole lot. It's just the
Right.
dressing rooms and like the rug behind the counter. And it's like, no, because we have to go through the company and that the same vacuum is the only vacuum we're allowed to buy.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, and it's like 300 it's like $300. And we have to, it's something that we have to use like our store money
Mm-hmm.
like in our account or whatever to do. And so we have to like ration all that stuff out throughout the year what we can buy as far as like, new racks and stuff and things like that. And it's like $300 for a new vacuum. And one of my coworkers was like, "Why can't we just like
Buy
some
a cheap one at the
or she
whatever.
said,
Yeah.
what if we go like wait until like Black Friday? Because she
Mm-hmm.
said that's what she did last year. She waited till Black Friday. She got like a stick vacuum
Mm-hmm.
for like $100, and she said it's something you can empty every night because it's got the little canister.
Mm-hmm.
You just empty it. She goes, this one you still have to buy bags for,
Yeah.
so you still have to buy stuff for it. She's like, this is stupid, and I'm like, there are so many things about this company that are dumb,
Yeah.
so dumb, and it's just like, God, corporate America. is fucking stupid.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
It's
is.
just hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Was it like what is it? The Grinch? On like Jim Carrey's Grinch where he's like hate, hate, hate,
Mm-hmm.
double hate, loathe entirely. That's me. Every time. It's like
Excellent.
loathe. Anyway, yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's my judge. Anyway, what are you judging?
So, to bring it back around to Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
So, many of you know that the newest season of Unsolved Mysteries came out, and I'm not completely done with it yet. I watched the first 3 episodes.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I have watched those as well.
and I do appreciate that this season has a little bit of that history. Like the Jack the Ripper was the first episode. So I'm like, I always like that about Unsolved Mysteries, where they'd pull something from the past that's like, this is weird and creepy, and we'll never know. And you're like, ooh,
yeah, like something like this, we will never know.
So episode 2, like almost as soon as the season dropped, I started seeing like reviews and things about how episode 2 was fucking terrifying, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's do this. And so this is season 4. Spencer, my partner, has watched them all with me up to this point. Like we've enjoyed all the seasons. And so we sit down and we're watching episode 2. And it opens with all of those bloody floor pictures. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And Spencer was just like, the hell?
Let me just tell you all. So April watches it. She texts me and she's like, oh my God, episode 2, it really fucked me and Spencer up. And I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna watch this. Ooh. Like I'm all ready for it. I'm prepared, you know?
And like it's very true crime-ish. Like you kind of go through the whole episode assuming that there is an external person who has come in and caused this to happen. And when you get to the end, I'm not going to ruin it for everybody because like you do you. But when you get to the end, you find out maybe not. And like some of the stuff that they had collected evidence-wise that they're expecting to point to an external person coming in and doing this doesn't really point that way anymore. And you're just like, oh, it's so weird. But to me, the thing
but also, let me tell you all, I fell asleep.
Yeah.
And April's like, did you survive? And I was like, well, I fell asleep.
But
and then Spencer was like, how did you fall asleep?
It's the end that made it so, because like it opens very bloody, and like
it does.
If you don't watch a lot of true crime stuff, then like if you don't watch a lot of true crime stuff, it's overwhelming. Even if you do watch a lot of true crime stuff, you're still like, there's a lot of blood pictures. Like to just start us off, I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I think I was just like, good God,
this is a lot. But to me, it's this woman who is dead in her basement has a dog and a cat. And even though she was probably in that basement for minimum 24 hours, but almost like 2 days with no one else there, the dog and the cat, neither one of them went down there. And like it's open. There's not like a door that's closed or anything.
Right.
And because there's no paw prints in the blood, there's no like licking on her body, there's no fur, there's no nothing. And that is what left me being like, what the fuck? Because like your dog's gonna come down. I mean, my cat's gonna come down. They're gonna be like, I'm hungry, come feed me. And cats in theory will eat you after you've been dead for like an hour because yummy.
And that makes me think there might have been an external person.
Well, but
to
like
feed the animals.
But even if they fed the animals, like they didn't like let them out to go potty. Like they didn't go downstairs. And that's weird to me. And that is what left me feeling so like, what the fuck? Like I can explain a lot of other things. I can come up with what feels like reasonable explanations about what happened and exactly kind of what went down or whatever. But the fact that the animals didn't go downstairs after they started off with, she always thought the basement was creepy, so she didn't like to go down there. I'm like, okay, look.
I mean, to be fair, basements are creepy in general. Just saying.
But this one was just like stairs going down to a room. Like it wasn't basementy. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of open. So it didn't feel super, I don't know. But so like that stuck with me that night. Like I thought about it and I was maybe unnerved is the right word. Like I was thinking about it. Like this is so weird. It's not what animals do. Like one animal didn't do it maybe, but neither animal went down there. That's just so bizarre. Based on everything else that they're talking about, this weird. But the thing is like the next day, I wasn't really thinking about it anymore. But apparently that next night, Spencer was still thinking about it. Like he went down like the Reddit rabbit hole trying to figure out what was going on, because like he was just like, what the fuck is happening? And I'm like, okay. He won't watch it with me anymore. He's done. That was his last Unsolved Mysteries episode. Which is fair, totally fair. But so to then be like, Claire, what'd you think? Did you survive? And she's like, well, I fell asleep. It's like, what is wrong with you?
I'm like, murder shows are my nap time shows. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
But like, so
Spencer apparently thinks that is completely unacceptable. So
yes, absolutely. But so then like I watch the third episode last night, and like it was kind of boring. There's a head in the woods. I'm here for it, but like it really didn't do it for me. I was kind of like, okay.
Yeah, no, I was kind of scrolling my phone on that one.
I was like, the satanic panic moment was just like, but then also when they're just like, this guy, like he failed the polygraph. I'm like, that means nothing to me.
Right.
But we still haven't identified who this person is. So, like, what the hell? It's such a weird... Everything about it was weird. And they got so fixated on the fucking red rubber balls. And I'm like, I can absolutely see some place being like, oh, hey, these work really well as cavity holders or whatever. Like,
right.
That feels totally like a thing that someone would have come up with. It's... that just the local people hadn't done.
Right.
Whatever. So that's all. That's my judge, was that everyone should go watch the new Unsolved Mysteries, but only watch episode 2 if you can handle super bloody pictures and to leave your mind with a, what the fuck
But there was
happened?
there was no dead body. It was just the blood.
But you could see where she was, and that was disconcerting.
Yeah, that was.
It was a lot of blood. Like, it was a lot of blood for someone who had one injury.
And I think that's when they said that. That's when I was like, "Holy shit! Yeah. How did that happen?"
A lot of, and like from a place that shouldn't bleed that much. I don't understand. It was a lot. So,
and part of me was like, "Was she on blood thinners?" Like,
she's on Eliquis.
I know. Like, what?
Oh, but. On that lovely note, it must be time for Tarot Time with April. Spooky. So, I think that we should ask the cards, ask the universe to tell us the truth behind the Bermuda Triangle.
I was getting ready to say something about, let's ask it about the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes. Because I feel like only the cards can tell us, right?
Right.
All right, Claire, tell me when to stop.
Nobody else is going to tell us.
The Bermuda Triangle. Ooh, spooky. Why does everything disappear there? Except for Columbus, who should have.
Right. Out of all the things that should have disappeared there.
I know, right? Like, good lord. Can't we just disappear? Can we send some things there to disappear?
Right.
Are they taking offerings?
Stop.
We have the Lovers.
Oh.
Isn't that one of your cards?
It is.
Have we ever had the Lovers? Not recently, anyway.
Like once.
The
maybe.
Chariot.
Ooh.
And the Ten of Wands. That burden is there, man. So much burden. It's hard to be the Bermuda Triangle. What can I say?
It is.
We're always asking so much from him. Um, the lovers, the lovers, the lovers. Do do do. The word that comes to my mind when I see this card is magnetic. Have you ever looked at someone and immediately felt your heart drop into your shoes? Felt so compelled to touch someone that you had to physically restrain yourself from doing so? No, but the people in the book I'm reading sure have. Lord, Lord, Lord. Okay, that's this card. It doesn't even have to be romantic. That's good because it's the Bermuda Triangle.
It's the Bermuda Triangle.
Let's see. The Lover's card asks a question. Will you be there for me, even if I screw up? Even if I hurt you? What? I don't know how to... This is like the card that's like about love. So I'm like, how is this about the Bermuda Triangle? I'm confused.
Just go with the magnetism.
Mm-hmm. It's all about the magnetism. It is very magnetic. Because that's part of the problem is that it fucks with your compass.
Just go with the magnetism.
Oh, maybe that's telling us what the Bermuda It's okay. It's a magnetic issue. Got it. Okay. So there's magnets. Then we have the Chariot, which interestingly is the very next card in the Major Arcana after the Lovers.
Is it really?
Yeah. I don't even have to flip a page. How about that?
Wow.
Let's see. The Chariot is driving through willpower. Noted. This card is about being in control. Confident, resourceful, and savvy. That is the Bermuda Triangle. Let's see. This card comes up when someone is recognizing their strength and they're about to start on a new crusade. The magnetism that he has is palpable.
Well.
Magnets, Claire. The answer is magnets.
It's magnets.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Magnets. I mean, it's being pretty. I don't want to say opaque. That's the wrong word. Like, it's very clear. The solution to the Bermuda Triangle is magnets.
It's a very magnetic area of the world.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. But the Ten of Wands is the stress, obligation, fear, hate, resentment of all the things that you're having to carry.
That's it. You fear the Bermuda Triangle.
Let's see.
You should fear the magnets.
Yes, fear the magnets. The important questions in a reading is, who is he carrying this for? Why won't he put it down? Why is he doing this? Why is he carrying them like that? Find out why you've burdened yourself so heavily. Bermuda Triangle, why have you burdened yourself with this magnetism that you have? So it's magnets. It's a burden of magnetism is what it is. The Bermuda Triangle, it exists because it is burdened with magnets. There's too many magnets there. It's too magnetic.
It's so funny.
Thank you, universe, for clearing up that mystery. It's solved now. You're welcome. Solved. Solved. Update. Bermuda Triangle is just magnets.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
That is funny. All right. What will our topic be for next week? How about badass LGBTQ people? That'll be fun.
Nice.
I'm here for that.
We've not had this one.
We have not had this
one. No, because we had...
Correct. We had neurodivergent. Yeah.
Yes.
Very cool. That'll be fun. So be sure to join us next week as we talk about some badass LGBTQ people. And until then, you can find us in all the things and at all the places at
Brunch and Judge.
Please follow, like, comment, subscribe. And you can send us more topics for our wheel or any stories you'd like for us to cover or your own interpretation of the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes.
To us at
brunchandjudge@gmail.com.
So until next time, keep on brunchin'.
And keep on judging.
Bye.
Bye.
And avoid the magnets.
Yes.